Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Jay's Beer Review. As you can see, I got all my festive trinkets on my neck, which would only mean that today is St. Patrick's Day. So I figured for today, for my beer review, I figured why not do a beer that up until now, and I've been reviewing for over 3 years now, have never done. So I finally figured now would be the perfect occasion to do none other than the Guinness Draught. Now, Guinness is a brewery out of Dublin, Ireland. And the alcohol percentage on this beer is actually not listed. But I believe it's like 4.5 or something really low like that. And for people who are, not that don't know much about beer, they're usually very shocked by that. Now, it doesn't have it on the can, so I'll be sure that I double check it and post it, but I know it is a pretty low alcohol percent. And as I was saying, a lot of people are very shocked by that when they hear that, because they assume that dark beer means bigger beer or more alcohol. And the other part about it too is, even though it's dark, it's relatively a light drinking beer as well. It says right here on the can that there's only 125 calories, which is less than your average Budweiser. I know Miller Lite's 96 calories or whatever, but I figured for the occasion, for being St. Patrick's Day, and since I've never reviewed Guinness, now would be a great time to do that. So that's what I'm doing. The glass that I am using is my Guinness Extra Stout glass that I have. I thought it was fitting for the occasion, but the reason why I'm pointing that out is because of the fact it does have Extra Stout written right on it. Because Guinness actually comes in 4 or 5 different varieties. There's the foreign stout, the Extra Stout, the regular draft, and then I think there's even a few other different ways that they make this same exact beer. So with all that said, we're going to go ahead and break into the Guinness Draught. Now, this one here has the nitro widget in it, which is supposed to help make it seem more like a draft beer that you would get at a bar. So with all that said, let's give it a shot. You can hear it sizzling in the can. Look at it, it's even starting to pop out of the top there. Oh, it's making a mess. And one of the fun things about Guinness is watching this beer as it settles fall. You can really see that there, as the beer is making a mess all over. I'm going to go ahead and let that settle for just a moment and clean up and get back to you in just a second. Alright, well, I'm back, and the beer has come to a point where it's settled and ready to be drank. One thing you can't argue is the beauty of this beer, without a doubt. What you have is a really nice opaque black beer. There is a slight little brown transparency towards the bottom of the glass that you can see when you hold up to light, but otherwise it really is pretty thick and dark and you can't see through it. It also does have just a little bit of carbonation sitting on the side of the glass, and about a 1 finger, really nice that milkshake creamy head sitting there on the top. The aroma, it actually smells like sourdough bread and dark roasted malt. So with that said, let's go ahead and try it. Cheers. Okay, on that initial sip, again, like I said, what a lot of people are really shocked by when they actually see these beers or drink these beers is how thin it actually really is. When I'm drinking it, yeah, you get that dark roasted malt. That's the most apparent flavor, and if you're not used to that, it does take some adjusting to get to. But it really does go down like water. It's so thin in the mouth when you actually drink it. And it actually is a very easy beer to drink. And because the alcohol percentage is so low, that even makes it an easy sessional beer. It's not exactly the greatest beer to drink in a hot summer day because You know, because of the dark roasted malt in the hot sun, it can dry out your throat, definitely, because it does definitely, without a doubt, have like a dry, bitter finish to it. But overall, in the spring, especially like St. Patrick's Day, this is a perfect kind of beer to drink in this occasion. Going with flavor, again, I talked about it in the beginning, it does have those roasted malt characters. It's not anything overwhelming, and when you put it up next to the greater echelon of great roasted stouts I've had in my life, it obviously doesn't compare to those in flavor, but for what it's supposed to be, it really is an easy drinking beer. I'm going to go ahead and drink some more of this and get back to you in a little while. Alright, well, I'm back, and as you can see, I have just a little bit of beer here left, and you can see like how much of that residue is just sticking to the side of the glass, and how there's still like a nice inch ahead on the beer, just like it was when I first poured it. What I think about this beer? Well, like I said earlier, it's not a world-class beer, and it's not one of the best beers in the world. I'd hardly even call it like anywhere in my top 50 favorites. But there's something to be said about the easy drinkability and enjoyability of this beer. It's very easy to drink. It's very light. It does have a good flavor, and it really is a quality brew. So, I'm not going to give it one of my top scores, but it's definitely like a satisfying beer. A true craft beer drinker at this point probably wouldn't think much of something like this. But if you just think about it for what it is, and that's an Irish dry stout, it's a great Irish dry stout. It's ironic to me that it's taking 3 years to drink probably one of the most popular craft beers out there, if you want to consider this a craft beer. I mean, it's probably one of the first beer that ever changed the movement in America to drink something other than your typical domestic beers. Well, that and Sam Adams and maybe Dogfish Head, but still, it deserves some credit, and even from a snob like myself, because the beer is a satisfying beer. So with that said, I am going to go ahead and do my final chug and then give you my final thoughts and grade. As far as final thoughts and grade, I'm going to actually give this beer a score of good. It's definitely a great introductory stout. It's definitely a great introductory, beer to if you're used to just drinking the regular domestic stuff. And overall, they do a good job making themselves a good product. And by the way, I looked it up. 4.1% alcohol by volume, which is even lower than what I said. I think your typical Budweiser is like 5.5. So, just a really good product there. I think they do a great job, and it's a perfect St. Patrick's Day beer, without a doubt. So, again, that was the Guinness in the draft can with a score of good. And happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. And until next time, thanks for watching.